Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie, and today we are on day 285. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy that you're here today. We are going to be starting 2 Kings today, which means we're going to be reading 2 Kings chapters 1 and 2. We will read Ezekiel chapter 40, and then James chapter 3. And then we're going to close out our day with Psalm 145, but only verses 1 through 7 today. So let's hop into 2 Kings, chapters 1 and 2. Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab. Ahaziah fell down through the lattice in his upper room that was in Samaria and was sick. So he sent messengers and said to them, "Go inquire of Baal, Zebub, and the god of Ekron, whether I will recover from this illness." But Yahweh's angel said to Elijah the Tishbite, "Arise and go up and meet the messengers of the king of Samaria and tell them, is it because there is no God in Israel that you go to inquire of Baal Zebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore, Yahweh says, you will not come down from the bed where you have gone up, but you will surely die." Then Elijah departed. The messengers returned to him and said to them, "Why is it that you have returned?" They said to him, "A man came up to meet us and said to us, 'Go return to the king who sent you, and tell him, Yahweh says, it is because there is no God in Israel that you send to inquire of Baal Zebub, the god of Ekron. Therefore you will not come down from the bed where you have gone up, but you will surely die.'" He said to them, "What kind of man was he who came up to meet you and told you these words?" They answered him, "He was a hairy man, and wearing a leather belt around his waist." He said, "It's Elijah the Tishbite." Then the king sent a captain of 50 with his 50 to him. He went up to him, and behold, he was sitting on the top of the hill. He said to him, "Man of God, the king has said, 'Come down.'" Elijah answered to the captain of 50, "If I am a man of God, then let fire come down from the sky and consume you and your 50. Then fire came down from the sky and consumed him and his 50. Again he sent to him another captain of 50 with his 50. He answered him, "Man of God, the king has said, 'Come down quickly.'" Elijah answered him, "If I am a man of God, then let fire come down from the sky and consume you and your 50. Then God's fire came down from the sky and consumed him and his 50. Again he sent the captain of a third 50 with his 50. The third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Elijah and begged him and said to him, "Man of God, please let my life and the life of these 50 of your servants be precious in your sight." Behold, fire came down from the sky and consumed the last two captains of 50 and their 50s. But now let my life be precious in your sight. Yahweh's angel said to Elijah, "Go down with him, and don't be afraid of him." Then he arose and went down with him to the king. He said to him, "Yahweh says, because you have sent messengers to inquire of Baal Zebub, the god of Ekron, is it because there is no God in Israel to inquire of his word? Therefore you will not come down from this bed where you have gone up, but you will surely die." So he died, according to Yahweh's word which Elijah had spoken. Jehoram began to reign in his place in the 2nd year of Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, because he had no son. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaziah, which he did, aren't they written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? Chapter 2. When Yahweh was about to take Elijah up by a whirlwind into heaven, Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. Elijah said to Elisha, "Please wait here, for Yahweh has sent me as far as Bethel." Elisha said, "As Yahweh lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. The sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that Yahweh will take away your master from over you today?" He said, "Yes, I know it. Hold your peace." And Elijah said to him, "Elisha, please wait here, for Yahweh has sent me to Jericho." He said, "As Yahweh lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." And so they came to Jericho. The sons of the prophets who were at Jericho came near to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that Yahweh will take away your master from over you today?" And he answered, "Yes, I know it. Hold your peace." Elijah said to him, "Please wait here, for Yahweh has sent me to the Jordan." He said, "As Yahweh lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you." Then they both went on. 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood opposite them at a distance, and they both stood by the Jordan. Elijah took his mantle and rolled it up and struck the waters, and they were divided here and there, so that they both went over on dry ground. When they had gone over, Elijah said to Elisha, "Ask what I shall do for you before I am taken from you." And Elisha said, "Please let a double portion of your spirit be on me." He said, "You have asked a hard thing. If you see me when I am taken from you, it will be so for you. But if not, it will not be so." As they continued on and talked, behold, a chariot of fire and horses of fire separated them, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen." He saw him no more. Then he took hold of his own clothes and tore them in 2 pieces. He also took up Elijah's mantle that fell from him and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. He took Elijah's mantle that fell from him and struck the waters and said, "Where is Yahweh, the God of Elijah?" When he also had struck the waters, they were divided apart, and Elisha went over. When the sons of the prophets who were at Jericho facing him saw him, they said, "The spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha." They came to meet him and bowed themselves to the ground before him. They said to him, "See now, there are with your servants 50 strong men. Please let them go and seek your master. Perhaps Yahweh's spirit has taken him up and put him on some mountain or into some valley." He said, "Don't send them." When they urged him until he was ashamed, he said, "Send them." Therefore they sent 50 men, and they searched for 3 days, but didn't find him. They came back to him while he stayed at Jericho, and he said to them, "Didn't I tell you, don't go?" The men of the city said to Elisha, "Behold, please, the situation of this city is pleasant, as my Lord sees, but the water is bad, and the land is barren." He said, "Bring me a new jar and put salt in it." And then they brought it to him. He went out to the spring of the waters and threw salt into it and said, "Yahweh says, I have healed these waters. There shall not be from there any more death or barren wasteland." So the waters were healed to this day, according to Elisha's word, which he spoke. He went up from there to Bethel. As he was going up by the way, some youths came out of the city and mocked him and said to him, "Go up, you baldy! Go up, you baldy!" He looked behind him and saw them and cursed them in Yahweh's name. Then 2 female bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of those youths. He went from there to Mount Carmel, and from there he returned to Samaria. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Ubaldi. All right, just having some fun. Ezekiel chapter 40. In the 25th year of our captivity, in the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after the city was struck, in the same day, Yahweh's hand was on me, and he brought me there. In the visions of God, he brought me into the land of Israel and set me down on a very high mountain, on which was something like the frame of a city to the south. He brought me there, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of bronze, with a line of flax in his hand and a measuring reed, and he stood in the gate. The man said to me, Son of man, with your eyes and see with your eyes and hear with your ears, and set your heart on all that I will show you, for you have been brought here so that I may show them to you. Declare all that you see to the house of Israel. Behold, there was a wall on the outside of the house all around, and in the man's hand a measuring reed 6 cubits long, of a cubit and a hand width each. So he measured the thickness of the building, 1 reed, and the height, 1 reed. Then he came to the gate, which looks toward the east, and went up the steps. He measured the threshold of the gate 1 reed wide, and the other threshold 1 reed wide. Every lodge was 1 reed long and 1 reed wide. Between the lodges was 5 cubits. The thresholds of the gate by the porch of the gate toward the house was 1 reed. He measured also the porch of the gate toward the house, 1 reed. Then he measured the porch of the gate, 8 cubits, and its posts, 2 cubits, and the porch of the gate was toward the house. The side rooms of the gate eastward were 3 on his side, were 3 on this side, and 3 on that side. The 3 of them were of 1 measure. The posts had 1 measure on this side and on that side. He measured the width of the opening of the gate, 10 cubits, and the length of the gate, 13 cubits, and a border before the lodges, 1 cubit on this side, and a border 1 cubit on that side, and the side rooms 6 cubits on this side, and 6 cubits on that side. He measured the gate from the roof of the one room to the roof of the other, a width of 25 cubits, door against door. He also made posts, 60 cubits, and the court reached to the posts around the gate. From the forefront of the gate and the entrance to the forefront of the inner porch of the gate were 50 cubits. There were closed windows to the side rooms and to their posts within the gate all around, and likewise to the arches. Windows were around inward. Palm trees were on each post. Then he brought me into the outer court. Behold, there were rooms and a pavement made for the court all around. 30 rooms were on the pavement. The pavement was by the side of the gates, corresponding to the length of the gates, even the lower pavement. Then he measured the width from the forefront of the lower gate to the forefront of the inner court, outside 100 cubits, for on the east and on the north. He measured the length and the width of the gate of the outer court, which faces toward the north. The lodges of it were 3 on this side and 3 on that side. Its posts and its arches were the same as the measures of the first gate. Its length was 50 cubits, and its width 55 cubits. Its windows, its arches, and its palm trees were the same as the measure of the gate which faces toward the east. They went up to it by 7 steps. Its arches were before them. There was a gate to the inner court facing the other gate on the north and on the east. He measured 100 cubits from gate to gate. He led me toward the south, and behold, there was a gate toward the south. He measured its posts and its arches according to these measurements. There were windows in it and in its arches all around, like the other windows. The length was 50 cubits and the width 25 cubits. There were 7 steps to go up to it, and its arches were before them. It had palm trees, one on this side and another on that side, on its posts. There was a gate to the inner court toward the south. He measured 100 cubits from the gate to gate toward the south. Then he brought me to the inner court by the south gate. He measured the south gate according to these measurements, with its lodges, its posts, and its arches, according to these measurements. There were windows in it and its arches all around. It was 50 cubits long and 25 cubits wide. There were arches all around, 25 cubits long and 5 cubits wide. Its arches were toward the outer court. Palm trees were on its posts. The ascent to it had 8 steps. He brought me into the inner court toward the east. He measured the gate according to these measurements, with its lodges, its posts, and its arches, according to these measurements. There were windows in it and its arches all around. It was 50 cubits long and 25 cubits wide. Its arches were toward the outer court. Palm trees were on its posts on this side and on that side. The ascent to it had 8 steps. He brought me to the north gate, and he measured it according to these measurements, its lodges, its posts, and its arches. There were windows in it all around. The length was 50 cubits and the width 25 cubits. Its posts were toward the outer court. Palm trees were on its posts on this side and on that side. The ascent to it had 8 steps. A room with its door was by the posts at the gates. They washed the burnt offering there. In the porch of the gate were 2 tables on this side and 2 tables on that side, on which to kill the burnt offering, the sin offering, and the trespass offering. On the one side outside, as one goes up to the entry of the gate toward the north, were 2 tables, and on the other side, which belonged to the porch of the gate, were 2 tables. 4 tables were on this side, and 4 tables on that side, by the side of the gate, 8 tables on which they killed the sacrifices. There were 4 cut stone tables for the burnt offering, 1.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1 cubit high. They had laid the instruments with which they killed the burnt offering and the sacrifice on them. The hooks, a hand-width long, were fastened within all around. The meat of the offering was on the tables. Outside of the inner gate were rooms for the singers in the inner court, which was at the side of the north gate. They faced toward the south. One at the side of the gate faced toward the north, and he said to me, "This room, which faces toward the south, is for the priests who perform the duty of the house. The room which faces toward the north is for the priests who perform the duty of the altar. These are the sons of Zadok, who from among the sons of Levi come near to Yahweh to minister to him. He measured the court 100 cubits long and 100 cubits wide, square. The altar was before the house. Then he brought me to the porch of the house and measured each post of the porch, 5 cubits on this side and 5 cubits on that side. The width of the gate was 3 cubits on this side and 3 cubits on that side. The length of the porch was 20 cubits and the width 11 cubits, even by the steps by which they went up to it. There were pillars by the posts, one on this side and another on that side. That is some detail. And that's what I love about their history, is they documented cubit by cubit every single thing. Can you imagine if they didn't? I mean, it just all would have been lost. It's pretty cool. All right, James chapter 3. Hang on one second. All right, I apologize. James chapter 3. Let not many of you be teachers, my brothers, knowing that we will receive heavier judgment. For we all stumble in many things. Anyone who doesn't stumble in word is a perfect person, able to bridle the whole body also. Indeed, we put bits into horses' mouths so that they may obey us, and we guide their whole body. Behold, the ships also, though they are so big and are driven by fierce winds, are yet guided by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot desires. So the tongue is also a little member, and boasts great things. See how small fire can spread to a large forest, and the tongue is a fire. The world of iniquity among our members is the tongue, which defiles the whole body, and sets on fire the course of nature, and is set on fire by Gehenna. For every kind of animal, bird, and creeping thing, and sea creature is tamed, and has been tamed by mankind. But nobody can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With it, we bless our God and Father, and with it, we curse men who are made in the image of God. Out of the same mouth comes blessings and cursing. My brothers, these things ought not to be so. Does a spring send out from the same opening fresh and bitter water? Can a fig tree, my brothers, yield olives, or a vine figs? Thus no spring yields both salt water and fresh water. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by his good conduct that his deeds are done in gentleness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your heart, don't boast and don't lie against the truth. This wisdom is not that which comes down from above, but is earthly, sensual, and demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition are, there is confusion and every evil deed. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceful, gentle, reasonable, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. Now the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. I'm going to leave that there. Think about those words. I beg people to hear those words. All right, Psalm 145, 1 through 7. And I am not immune to James is talking straight to me also. My mouth has said some ugly things many, many times, and I have regret, and I have to ask for forgiveness. But it's that daily discipline of just really trying not to have that knee-jerk reaction when something is upsetting to me. I really try to just pause. Please don't speak. Please don't speak. And sometimes I do. And many times I regret it. Oh, our mouths. All right, Psalm 145, 1 through 7. Let's close out this day. I see the sun rising. I'm trying to beat it. This is a praise psalm by David. I will exalt you, my God the King. I will praise your name forever and ever. Every day I will praise you. I will extol your name forever and ever. Great is Yahweh and greatly to be praised. His greatness is unsearchable. Our generation will commend your works to another and will declare your mighty acts. I will meditate on the glorious majesty of your honor, on your wondrous works. Men will speak of the might of your awesome acts. I will declare your greatness. They will utter the memory of your great goodness and will sing of your righteousness. Oh man, why do they gotta break that up? This is one I'm going to mark it because this is one we are going to read straight through. How on earth could they break up a praise psalm? What? So we're just going to put a little heart right here. And when we come on the end of the book of Psalms, I've chosen a few of them to just read straight through, some of them that they've broken up. He is so good. He is so good. Keep your eyes open today. If you're hoping for a miracle, look for that miracle. If life is good and you don't have anything going on, look for a little small miracle in your day. Look for him. Stay in relationship with him. Talk with him. Praise him. Love him. Because that's all he ever wanted. All he ever wanted was relationship. Go do it. Go do it now. And think about coming back tomorrow, which will be day 286. Have a fantastic day, folks. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.